Boys and girls of all ages, welcome. Welcome to my show. Welcome to Finding Truths, because here we find truths. So I'm super stoked. I'm so stoked and happy, because right here, I actually got somewhat legit microphone. It's just a blue Yeti Nano. So far, I'm sure I have a lot of adjustment to do, but that's okay because the voice quality, the sound quality of my voice, you can actually hear bass and you can hear high and low and inflection and everything. It's not just one nasally thing coming out, and I love it. Now, I might hear all the other background noise, but honestly, that's okay. I'm just happy. This is my Screwtape letters series. I don't know how I'm putting this video together yet, but that's okay because, a while ago I'd started listening to, or I didn't start listening yet, actually. A while ago I'd started reading the Screwtape letters, and for those of you that have never heard of what Screwtape letters are or even know what I'm talking about, it's an old book written in 1942 by C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis is the guy that wrote The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Paralandra, some really good sci-fi fantasy books with a strong kind of Christian theme standing still behind them. Screwtape Letters it's a book of comprised chapters, letters from a head demon named Screwtape to his nephew named Wormwood. And so what he does is he's telling him, hey, this is how you're going to get your human, your boy, so you can torture him forever in eternity. To get him to stray away from the enemy, here's what you do. Here's what you go, here's how you operate in this field. In this, there are certain instances that happen. You never hear the other side Wormwood to Screwtape. You only hear Screwtape's replies to Wormwood, telling him what to do. What caught me recently was the first paragraph. The first paragraph just blew my mind because of how similar it is to before and now. 1942, this guy was writing about stuff that we're actually starting to see now. People are starting to wake up and see that, oh, wow, this is amazing. This is something that did happen. It's still happening. And to me, it's just like, there's so much in every chapter that is similar to now. Maybe it was subtle back in the day, but now it's almost so ridiculous that it's become still subtle somehow. So I'm going to go over the first paragraph. I didn't catch this years ago when I first kind of half-heartedly got into the Screwtape letters, but putting on Audible audiobook, I just love it. I love listening to books way more than I do reading. Reading, honestly, if there's a slow part, it'll put me to sleep and I'll fall asleep. I can usually push through it on an audiobook. I can either fast forward to where I can skip, or I can make it quick so he talks real fast and he gets through it real quick. That way I still hear the content. But anyway, so I'm going to read the first paragraph to you. I'll try to explain it a little bit too, because it's the wording isn't broken down. It's not simple. But what he's saying is very simple. Okay. This is, my dear Wormwood. I note what you say about guiding your patient's reading and taking care that he sees a good deal of his materialist friend. But are you not being a trifle naif? It sounds as if you supposed that argument was the way to keep him out of the enemy's clutches. That might have been so if he had lived a few centuries earlier. At the time, the humans still knew pretty well when a thing was proved and it was not. And if it was proved, they really believed it. They still connected thinking with doing and were prepared to alter their way of life as the result of a chain of reasoning. But what with the weekly press and other such weapons we have largely altered, that your man has been accustomed, ever since he was a boy, to having a dozen incompatible philosophies dancing about together inside of his head. He doesn't think of doctrines as primarily true or false, but more as academic or practical, outworn or contemporary, conventional or ruthless. Jargon, not argument, is your best ally in keeping him from the church. Don't waste time trying to make him think that materialism is true. Make him think it is strong or stark or courageous, that it is the philosophy of the future, that the sort of thing he cares about. So I'm going to break that down just a little tidbit of meat by little tidbit of meat. How do you like that? If you look, okay, the enemy that he's talking about is God, or the holy forces throughout the book. It's funny because you kind of have to it's so weird that the good guys are the bad guys. I am not conditioned to that, so you're having to constantly remember, oh yeah, okay, I gotta switch this because these bad guys are saying they're good guys. Anyway, so he's telling Wormwood, hey dude, you messed up. You're trying to bring argument to this kid, this guy that you're trying to bring over to the dark side. You were trying to tell him whether something was fact or not. And that's not something that these people are open to. You can't tell someone that something's true or false. It doesn't work, because that used to work. That's what he says. You might have been able to do this if he had lived a few centuries earlier. At the time, humans still knew pretty well that a thing was proved and it was not. And if it was proved, they really believed it. So he's saying, man, and this is right here, he's calling real science or real belief system is based on something that is proved and hardened. And they're willing to change their life because of that proof. He's saying people aren't like that anymore, though. Because thanks to us, all their belief system has changed. They still connected thinking with doing and were prepared to alter their way of life as a result of the chain of reasoning of true or false, what is right or wrong, what is a firm foundation. You change your life upon that. You base your whole life on this strong foundation that you knew has been tried and tested. Now, but with the weekly press and other such weapons we have largely altered, your man has been accustomed since he was a boy. He's been accustomed to stuff. Stuff has been pushed into his mind to having a dozen incompatible philosophies dancing about together inside of his head. He doesn't think of doctrines as primarily true or false, but as academic or practical. Plain and simple, you have evolution and creationism. These are academic choices. Neither are true or false. You can have Hillsong say that evolution is practical, right? That we're not going to call it a true or a false, but that we can accept it as something academic or conventional, or it's this jargon that the demon is telling, hey, use this jargon. Don't use true and false things. Just throw all this other crap in there. You know what? He'll believe it all. He'll take it all in. All the philosophy of everything. It's okay. It's okay to accept it. And that is a big, big deal. That's what I've been saying, especially about the biblical realm that we live in. The biblical earth, the shape of the earth, whatever it is, not a globe. But you can see where this, in 1942, C.S. Lewis was calling out in the very first paragraph of his book. Something that totally describes the way we are today. Something that shows how stupid we've become. How our views are just another philosophy. It's okay, guys. It's okay. It's just a way of thought, you know? It's not real science. It's kind of thought. We're just taking guesses, but since it's in this book, you're going to take it as being a possibility. That's not how it's supposed to be, folks, ladies and gentlemen, man and woman, male or female. There is true and there is false. That's what we choose. That's what we have. You know what I just saved? I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to find it on the interwebs so you can see it too. But right now I'm going to read it off my phone because it is fantastic and it even goes along with this video I'm making right here. So it shows Eve and a snake, right? The serpent. And it says, a picture of the modern church. And then Eve is, but God said not to, ... And then you have the snake says, don't be so legalistic. That is a fine picture of this exact same thing as well, because you have Eve pointing out the fact that God said not to do something. Hey, let's not do this. It's not a good idea. And then Satan's like, meh, don't be a legalist. And you'll hear that in the church even. Today's church. You are a legalist because you are quoting scripture. You'll find it. You'll see it. I swear. You'll see it. And you can go visit 50 churches. As soon as someone disagrees with you because they were taught different, if you quote the scripture and use it in context and they don't like it because it's not how they were taught, or they think a lot of different things, they're going to tell you you're a legalist. You're a legalist for doing what God said. Why? Because I'm smarter and more special. Since school, someone's been telling me what to believe since I was a little kid. And yeah, we're going to believe the media because they're never wrong. We're going to take all these different foreign customs that say the opposite of what my Bible says. But I'm going to defend that because man says so. Because science says so. It's not how it works. C.S. Lewis was calling it out in the very beginning of this book. Kind of hidden in old type and wordiness for modern people. I'm not trying to be derogatory, but people like myself, because this is exactly why I put it away a few years ago, is I didn't want to take the time to explore the wordiness of this. But here we go. This is it. This describes us. This is us. Screwtape letters. First paragraph. Calling us out. And we accept it. And we're okay with it. Because public school is free. It's okay. We'll put our kid in it. We can go to work. It's kind of like babysitting. We'll allow them to teach our kids all these different thoughts and ways and philosophies and point of views. But no, there's no true or false. It's kind of like math. Math to me is a true or false type of statement. 2 + 2 is always 4. Yes, you can have philosophical arguments of why that could change, but no. Again, that's the philosophy that's being added. Math is a true or a false. 2 + 2 is 4. But now, even that they're changing. And you see with the whole different methods and, hey, we're not going to do the true way. Let's throw all these different secret special ways. Let's get your mind flowing. When you don't have to do that with a true or false statement. If you can test it and it's false, then you know you can't trust it. If you test something and it's always true, boom, you can always trust it. And I think that's where I'm going to end this video. This was only first paragraph, first chapter of the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. Written in 1942, or at least published. I don't know, he might have been carried out. I didn't see exactly. But this is gonna be up. You're gonna be seeing this, and it is insane how much worse C.S. Lewis saw this and put it out, presented it to the world in 42. And if I or someone else tries to call it out today, when it's very prevalent and apparent, still ignored. Well, I hope you learned something. So, first part of this video, I'm excited to see more. I'm going to be pulling up more scripture and more Screwtape letter books. But I just wanted to, as an opening, this is a great opening for a great discussion. And thanks for joining me. Have a good night, and I'll see you next time on Channel 33.